6:33. Welcome, everybody. This is our March Parks Committee meeting for Community Board 7. My name is Barbara Stronzer, and I'm chair of the Parks Committee. I would like to start the meeting with the reading of our committee guidelines. Good evening. As I said, my name is Barbara Stronzer, and this is Bronx Community Board 7's Parks and Cultural Affairs Committee. On February 19, 2023, Mayor Adams issued Executive Order 339 extending the state of emergency through March 21st, 2023. Accordingly, boards are able to continue to act under the state of emergency section through March 23rd. Emergency section of the video conferencing law. This allows the board to continue remotely. Minutes and video recordings will be made available on our website. If you are calling in at the meeting on conference, controls while joining from a landline or a cell phone, you would dial up the number, and to hear all available commands, enter ** on your phone, *6 to mute or unmute yourself, *9 to virtually raise your hand. We will run this meeting as follows. Our code of conduct is as follows. Bronx Community Board 7 has the right to remove and/or ask a member of the public to leave a meeting or block participation of anyone who engages in inappropriate conduct, including but not limited to obscene or offensive images or language, personal attacks, threats, or any other behavior that reasonably impedes the orderly administration of the meeting. Repeated offenses will be reviewed by the board's executive committee or any other assigned committee for a ban of participation, the amount of time to be objectively determined by the above committee in the event of repeated disruptive behavior. If in-person outbursts or attacks continue, this will be considered disturbing the peace and the authorities will be summoned. Everyone beside the speaker or the presenter will stay muted throughout the meeting. After each presentation is over, I will inquire if committee members have questions. Committee members will signify that they have a question by pressing the raised hand button on your screen, or request to speak through the chat, or when the chair opens the floor. Members of the public who have joined through the online link will be able to ask questions and make a brief statement on the item after each presentation and after the committee has had an opportunity to ask clarifying questions by pressing the raised hand button on your screen, or request to speak through the chat, or when the chair opens the floor. Only those recognized by the chair of the committee will be allowed to speak during the allotted time. We will stay on topic with the agenda items. Any other items will be acknowledged by the chair in new business or addressed at the next meeting, granted there is time and the committee agrees on the topic. Following the questions, discussion, and public comment portion, the committee will begin their discussion after each presentation or agenda item and will conclude with the decision to vote on a recommendation. When the agenda is finished, the meeting will be adjourned. If there are any questions related to meeting software or to our process, please use the chat function or raise hand function now, or contact the deputy district manager. Okay, thank you for your patience. We'll move the meeting. We'll take attendance first. Okay. All right, Barbara Stronzer is present. Tasha Andrews.
Tasha Andrews present.
Thank you. Betty Arce. Okay. It's not. Daisy Perry.
Daisy Perry present.
Thank you. Gwendolyn Thomas Steed. Gwendolyn. All right. Ruth Caraballo.
Ruth Caraballo present.
Thank you. And Toby Buford.
Toby Buford present.
Thank you. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a quorum. Good. Thank you. All right. The next item on our agenda would be the review of our previous month's minutes. I'll put them up on the screen. Okay, this is from our February meeting. I'll scroll down slowly so you can take a look. We had Tyler Wilcox, the Directory of the Bronx Forestry Operations. Okay, we were glad to have someone from forestry at last. We had Catherine Barone regarding the new pickleball courts that we're getting at Williamsbridge Oval. And then we had the presentation by the American Institute of Architects regarding the rehabilitation, I should say the future rehabilitation of Marshallou Parkway. All right, and then we have reports from our recreation centers, both St. James and Williamsbridge Oval, and then our friends groups reported. Okay. Does anybody have any changes to the minutes from last month?
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. Do we have a second?
Toby Buford seconds.
Thank you, Toby. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. I believe we have consensus on that. All right, we'll move on into our new business. We have Carl Ketter here from the Partnership for Parks. Carl, do you want to start with your presentation?
Oh, yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Carl Vetter, the outreach coordinator for this district, and a few others. I came back to Partnerships for Parks in June, and I became the full-time outreach coordinator for this district about a couple weeks ago. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you and being able to provide whatever support I can. Feel free to message me if you need anything in particular. Thank you.
Okay, anything else you wanted to tell us, Carl? I know you have a campaign going about getting the mayor to appropriate that 1% for parks. How successful has that been going? You had a recent demonstration, I believe.
Oh, I mean, I haven't. We're not the advocates for the budget. We're just happy to work with what we have. PFP.
Okay. Does anyone have a question for Carl? Do you have any programs up here in the Bronx in our board area? Can you tell us?
Coming up on April 29th. This will be at Henry Hudson Park, but we're having a City Nature Challenge festival. So we'll have It's My Park project, sanitation's compost people will be there, the urban park rangers. This will be about from 9 a.m. to 12, and then we're having a similar event in Ewing Park from 9 to 12. But if anyone wants to get involved in the City Nature Challenge, it's very easy to get a group of people out into your park with the iNaturalist app just to take pictures of the birds, the bees, the plants. 44 countries are participating, and it's a really good global opportunity to work together to take observations of things in our parks. It helps us learn parks a little bit better, and it also helps connect and build, community science, community building, and all that fun stuff.
Okay. Can you send us some literature on the events you're having in the Bronx?
Oh, of course. I will send those over either tonight or tomorrow if my computer lets me into my work email.
And are you planning any events in our board area? We have
Oh,
about 10 or 11 parks in
Oh,
boards.
yes, yes. I'm working very closely with the Friends of DeVoe Park and their pollinator park garden project. And so we're looking to incorporate a bunch of STEM activities into the IMP projects to make them more ecologically robust. As you may have noticed, I'm very eco-focused, and so I'm very big on learning about the plants. And so if you guys have interest in doing a nature walk or anything to try and learn more, I'm happy to meet in person in your parks to learn your parks a little bit better myself.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions for Carl? I'm glad to hear that you will be doing something in one of our parks.
Oh, but
Okay.
believe me, I will be doing more.
Okay, that's great. All right, thank you. Any questions from the committee? No? Okay, we'll move the agenda then. We have a request for support for a Parks Enforcement Patrol to be added and stationed at Van Cortlandt Park. Deborah is with us from Community Board 8. Deborah, you're on. You would like to give us a little background on this?
Yeah, totally. Thank you. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you about this. Let me start with tell you who I am. So I'm Deb Travis. I am the chair of the Community Board 8 Parks Committee. I've been the chair of the Parks Committee for about a year. I've been on the community board for about 5 years. And I actually run a Parks volunteer steward group. I work with Carl all the time, called Jerome Park Friends and Neighbors, and we take care of the parks and planting beds around the Jerome Park Reservoir. So back in October, our council member, Eric Dinowitz, and assembly member, Jeffrey Dinowitz, sent a letter to the Urban Park Service requesting additional Parks Enforcement Patrol officers to be stationed specifically in Van Cortlandt Park. This was in collaboration, I think, with Stephanie Ehrlich, and was kind of roundly supported. We learned about it, and so we reached out to Stephanie and to the 2 commanders of the Parks Enforcement in the Bronx to just come to our committee meeting and to give us some context of what's happening and what was the thought process behind this. And so they came, and what we learned actually made a lot of other things make sense. So, in Van Cortlandt Park, there's been dirt bikes, it's kind of chronic. ATVs are chronic. These kind of car shows in Chandler Field or in Chandler parking lot, kind of spin outs. There's just, there's like large, like huge, like 200-300 person parties, homeless encampments, all, the list goes on and on. And the Parks Enforcement Patrol is responsible for enforcing the park's rules. So they're not the 50th precinct, but they work in collaboration with 50th precinct to, to let people know when they might be breaking a rule or when they need a permit for something, and to break up crowds, and to just really I think they act, in my mind, like the first de-escalation task force, right? To kind of keep a certain level of calm and order. And they're there they can coordinate with both the 50th precinct and with the Yonkers police. And so when we had the 2 captains come, we learned that there are 49 PEP officers for all of the Bronx for coverage that is 7 days a week. And that is from, early morning until 11 p.m., 49 people total. We learned that there's, that they have very high attrition because they're not paid equivalent to other agencies. And so they often go off to sanitation or to the NYPD. And so there's a constant kind of rotation happening. We also learned that they're located, the PEP officers that help us, and it's not just in the major parks like Van Cortlandt Park, they're responsible for rules enforcement in all of our small parks too. They're stationed in Pelham Bay Park. And so Pelham Bay Park is about 20 minutes to get to this side of the Bronx. And so, for them, they're not able to respond as quickly as they would like. They feel understaffed, grossly understaffed, and that they have to kind of prioritize. And so not everything gets responded to. On top of it, they also need to close out their day in Pelham Bay Park. And so, we don't get coverage until 11 o'clock or, 10 o'clock because they got to get back and in order to do paperwork and change out their uniforms and things. And so, the more they described kind of the current state, the more it became clear that if we had a PEP command that was stationed in Van Cortlandt Park, then they would, at the end of the day, they would be coming to Van Cortlandt Park. So it wouldn't be nearly so far. If there were issues in any of our local parks, like we have kind of a chronic ground fires in Washington's Walk at the south end of the reservoir. I mean, we lost a tree a few years ago because of a fire. If we had more PEP around, they would just be more of a presence. And so we wouldn't have kind of people making a habit of drinking and having fires and things. And they would just go do these things someplace else, or maybe they would just pick up a different way of enjoying their evening, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be so difficult. And so, we decided to send a letter in support of the plan that had come from the council member and the assembly member and Van Cortlandt Park Alliance. And so we sent that off to the Urban Park Service. And we got a response back from them that was basically like, we can't support this at this time, but you do have mounted PEP in Van Cortlandt Park, and you do have what are they called? The Stephanie, who the folks who are stationed in the nature center? They're
Urban Park Rangers.
Urban Park Rangers. So they kind of offered up Urban Park Rangers as an option. Urban Park Rangers are purely educational. So it's a little bit like saying, well, your school is very secure because you have teachers there. That's not an adequate answer. And so that was when we decided we need to do a resolution. Because one of the other things that we did was we just kind of pulled the data. The Parks Enforcement Patrol, they respond to 311. And so you can really just look at how much the 311 reports have just gone through the roof since COVID. And I think, all of us have lived here before COVID. It was bad before when it came to dirt bikes on the trails and ATVs. I mean, I literally just 2 days ago had 42 ATVs and dirt bikes going down Sedgwick Avenue. I just counted them. I just stood and watched them all go because it was a good 2 or 3 minutes of dirt bikes and ATVs. And so our thinking really was that Community Board 7 and Community Board 12 were all experiencing this together, that the Parks Enforcement Patrol is funded, basically citywide, that they operate and they distribute people as the need, they determine the need and they kind of, staff accordingly. But if we kind of spoke as one voice, that we might be able to make a little bit more noise than we would be able to individually as a community board. This is not just a Community Board 8 problem, and it's not really just a Van Cortlandt Park area problem. This is a Bronx-wide problem. And so that's why I felt like I really just wanted to come to you, kind of talk to you about what we've been doing. We just passed a resolution in Community Board 8 in February, and just ask you for your support in a similar resolution, so that we can speak as one voice.
Okay, thank you. I have a few questions, and I'm sure my committee does also.
Yeah.
My first question is, or I'll make a statement first. It took us a while to get the PEP squad to find our community board area. Thanks through the help of Friends of Marshall Parkland and all, they finally were able to come over to 7 and visit a few of our parks. Now, my question is, if we support a PEP station over at Van Cortlandt, will they also come out to other parks in the western end of the borough? Because I realize, their headquarters are right now at Pelham Bay Park, and it's a long ride, and we rarely see them unless we have major problems. Is that part of your resolution, or was the resolution just for Van Cortlandt Park?
The resolution is really to say that we would like their command to be stationed there. That's just where that's their point of departure. So they would be in Van Cortlandt Park the most because that's where they're coming and going. And if there's need, that would where they would be. But certainly like they would be in all of the parks. They would continue to be a North Bronx command that would circulate in all of our community boards and all of the parks. I don't think that there's a world where they would, I mean, I hope there's not a world where all of the 311 complaints that are so bad that it's all in Van Cortlandt Park. You know, we all have issues, you know, we have issues around the reservoir, we have issues in Shorefront Park, which is, you know, PEP it's very difficult for them to get to Riverdale Park, Shorefront Park, all the way over on the Hudson River. That's very far for them to go. So, you know, this would be not just in Van Cortlandt Park, it's just that's where they would be deploying from.
Okay, because in the past, we've had more than a few issues along Jerome Avenue. I guess it would be the southeast corner of Van Cortlandt Park. Opposite the park there, we have more than a few apartment buildings, and every summer we get complaints. And I know the 52nd Police Precinct has received more than a few complaints on the weekend. People are picnicking, which, you know, we don't mind, but then the loud music gets piped up and people can't enjoy their apartments. So
Yeah.
that has been a major area. And then I don't know if you're aware of the fact, but near where the entrance of the new golf course is going to be, directly opposite, we have a men's homeless shelter. And we've had some problems with some of the clients there in the past too. Needless to say, sometimes it takes a long time for the police to come out because it's a joint interest area. And, you know, each unit thinks the other precinct should handle it. So my feeling is that as long as we support the station, and our resolution would say something to the effect of the fact that, you know, we need the PEP squad in our parks along Board 7, as well as in Van Cortlandt Park. Do we have any questions from the Parks Committee? I know, Toby, you're on, that DeVoe Park has had problems, and in the past, have you had somebody stationed there from PEP?
PEP comes by, but we really have the 52nd precinct. They will put a car from time to time inside DeVoe Park. So PEP will come around, you'll see them in the morning, you'll see them in the afternoon. But I have to say it's not consistent. Like, it's not, from what I can tell, consistent. But the 52nd, they are consistently out there, particularly when the weather is warmer.
Okay, all right. Do we have any other questions or statements? Anybody from the public want to address the issue or have a question about our support if we decide to support a PEP squad being stationed at Van Cortlandt? Deb, where in Van Cortlandt would you station
That's a good question.
squad?
It's still, that's an open item. And maybe Stephanie can speak to like where she's thinking about having the PEP command.
Stephanie?
Hiya, sorry, it took
Hi.
me a second to get off mute. They need space, and space is a challenge in Van Cortlandt Park. We don't have any indoor space for, like, I don't have an office in Van Cortlandt Park. So I think that it would be something that would be up for conversation where that would be. There's potential on the east side that I would like to look into. So
Okay, very good. Would
yeah.
you?
I would say
Well-
just to be where Community Board 8 has been considering it, or like making the assumption that the most viable spaces are in what's currently the Moshalou Golf House, the temporary structure that was built next to the filtration plant. We're operating under the assumption that that will be converted into an administrative building for the Parks Department. That's our assumption. as a construction winds down. So that could potentially be a place. Also, there's the DEP police, are right there off of Jerome as well. And maybe there's a space, because we're not talking about that many people. We're talking about a couple of people, 2-3 people in a shift. So that maybe they could tuck in there. So that it's really, that would be TBD, like once we got funding for and commitment from the city.
Okay. We have our parks manager on, Joe. Joe, do you know if there will be any increase in the number of PEP offices in the borough?
Yeah, but Barbara, I haven't heard anything to that as far, but what Deborah had mentioned that, there's the attrition issue. So even when we do get them, Barbara, it's not something that we're like, wow, we got 20 PEP officers because they leave so fast. It's just an issue, they get better opportunities and they move on.
Yeah.
And the PEP that we do have, I got to say, Captain Sanchez, since he's come to the Bronx, he is absolutely amazing. He's done like amazing things with illegal dumping, and he's really on the ball, but it really comes down to a manpower issue. And,
Yeah, I want to amplify what Joe's saying too. What was really clear when meeting both of the captains was that there's a lot of heart there, and they're really trying their best, and that they're just really outnumbered and underfunded, and that we would be doing an enormous service to the morale of the department, to the morale of parks. I say, just as a volunteer, kind of works closely with the Parks Department. And we would just see such better outcomes. You don't have to fix things that are not broken by bad misuse, and it makes the park feel so much less safe. So.
All right, thank you. Any other comments on the issue? All right, do I have a motion to support the creation of a PEP squad over in Van Cortlandt Park? And do we have anyone?
Motion to support. This is
Okay.
Gwen.
Okay, Gwen.
Ruth seconds the motion.
Okay, I would like to add to the motion that the PEP squad that would be in Van Cortlandt Park would also service the parks throughout Community Board 7. It would certainly help us with getting some attention from them at a shorter period of time, because right now it takes a long time for them to come across the borough. All right, so do we have a second for that?
Ruth seconds the motion.
All right. Okay. Any other discussion on it before we vote? Okay. All right. All right, so the motion is to support the creation of a PEP squad at Van Cortlandt Park, with the proviso that they would also give assistance to the Parks and Community Board 7. Okay, Barbara Stronza votes yes. Tasha Andrews?
Tasha Andrews votes yes.
Thank you. Betty Arce? No, she's not here. Okay. Daisy Perry?
Daisy Perry votes yes.
Thank you. Gwendolyn Thomas Steed? Gwendolyn?
Gwendolyn Thomas Steve votes yes.
Thank you. Ruth Caraballo?
Ruth Caravaggio votes yes.
Good, thank you. And Toby Buford?
Toby Buford votes yes.
Thank you. The motion carries.
Barbara, you gotta mark Gwen present. You have a no there.
Okay, I will correct it. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, Deb and Stephanie, for coming on. Let's keep in touch if we have any other issues that come up. And I'm guessing that probably we will get this for this season.
Oh, the PEP commands?
Yes, what do
It's a
you,
budget item, so really we need to, we'll need to continue to press our council members and the mayor for funding for the Parks Department.
okay,
That's-
so it
that's-
probably will not be this season then.
They said that they would only need, I think it was like a couple of months to get everybody staffed up and trained. It's just a matter of funding, so you know, I'm gonna keep hope in my heart, but I'm not planning anything right yet. So
Okay, thank you, and please keep us posted on the issue if you hear anything.
we'll
Thank
do.
you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you, everybody. This is wonderful.
Okay. Take care.
Take care.
All right, we'll move the agenda. We have some updates on park maintenance. Before I start, Joe, I just want to say I met Andre on the Parkway today. He's the gentleman that rides a parks truck and I guess goes from park to park, cleaning and maintaining the park. I mean, he is doing a fantastic job along Marshall from Webster to Hull and Marion Avenues. I really feel he's a great person to have out there, and hopefully you will not transfer him any place. Where else does he clean in our district?
I'm gonna, first of all, I'm gonna, forward that information over to him and let him know that his work's being appreciated. Andre also works out of WBO, so that's actually where they work out of and I saw on the agenda, I guess we'll just get this out of the way, the boiler at the Webster House.
Yes, go ahead.
It's looking like, I think it was a June completion date that they had stated from the beginning. It looks like it's on time for a June completion.
This June?
That was what Mike said. Let me check the email real quick. He literally just sent it to me. Mike Ortiz. Hold on. Yep, June completion date.
Oh, great. So we will have staff scheduled to be returning to the Webster House.
As well, I mean, that's what it's looking like. It's looking like we're gonna hit that June completion date. It just, things happen, but that's what it's looking like.
Okay, so hopefully
All right. Yeah.
we will have staff there. Okay,
Yeah.
and
So for the time now, they've been working out of Williamsbridge Oval. So he cleans Williamsbridge Oval as well as Marshall Parkway. So,
okay.
and I don't know. I
doesn't-
just want to ask you if you saw up Marshall North between Jerome and Gun Hill. There's like that little I guess you call it forest area. There was actually a large amount of illegal dumping that was in those woods. And we actually had a front end loader up there cleaning it out. If you want to take a walk up there and check it out, we really cleaned out those woods. So
Okay, where is it again, Jerome?
between Jerome and Gun Hill.
Jerome and Gun Hill.
Yep, north side.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. Now, the other item for an update was the damaged pillar on Marshall Parkway North.
Yeah, we had exchanged some emails on that. So we're trying to get the insurance company of the driver to pay for it. So, once that becomes a part of the equation, the city insurance companies, it might take a little more time, but we're definitely on it. We're getting the insurance company to pay for the pillar.
Okay, and my concern is that some of the loose stones might be taken. Is there any way they can be secured? So that they can be, used to build up the pillar again?
Yeah, I could look into that. I gotta, where I could put them if I have some empty space. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. All right. I'll look into that tomorrow.
Okay, and it will be restored in-house, I take it, correct?
No. That's why we're trying to get we'll have a professional mason come in and do the work.
Okay. Thank you on those two. Do we have any concerns in any of our other parks that anyone would like to bring up? First, we'll start with the committee. Toby, do you have any concerns for DeVoe?
Actually, DeVoe is looking pretty good. I was out there Sunday when I saw park crew, quite a few of them. I think I might have counted 6 people cleaning the park. So the vote is looking good. I put some pictures up of the bulbs that are coming up, and I'm speaking to the gentleman who said that he's part of our pollination program. It's looking good. So so the Vote Park is getting the attention that it needs. And so I'm happy about it. They've also added transportation, added signage to let you know where the park is, where people cross the street from Webb into the opening of the park. I would like to, and I'm gonna mention it in the transportation meeting, if they can do it again on the Father Zeiser side. They just have one. It would be nice if they had it along all the entrances. But other than that, I'm pleased.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good to hear that. Any other,
Oh, one more
requests?
thing. I'm sorry. One more thing.
Go ahead.
We did get out the flyer for the arts program that's going to take place in the park. And I would like to see if we can get it into the Community Board 7's news, the Facebook that comes out, so that we can get youngsters involved for the summer, so the program can be a success.
Okay, all
Okay.
right. Carla, do you hear that? Maybe we can put that information out?
Yes,
Yeah.
Toby, you can send me the information via email and I'll put it on the newsletter.
Okay. Any other concerns regarding maintenance in the park throughout Board 7? All right, anybody from the community who would like to raise an issue regarding maintenance in a park near you? Okay, Joe, another question for you. When will you know about staffing for the spring and summer?
Yeah, Barbara, the entire plan didn't get released yet. Give me, it's March now.
Yes.
I don't know, next month, hopefully. I want to know as bad as you want to know, Barbara. So yeah, just let's see next month. I know we have I can give you this good news. We actually have we're trying something out. We're doing like a late crew. I don't know what the other parks in the other districts are, but on the north end, St. James and Williamsbridge Oval will be given extra attention this year by a separate crew. They'll also have other parks in the north end of the Bronx, but they're gonna have like a dedicated crew to maintain a few of these parks.
Okay, and they will do the cleaning late in the day?
The cleaning, the bed, yeah, it'll be like more of a late shift.
Late shift.
Late shift. And they're gonna be focusing on like what we call them as hotspots, and the two that are in Community Board 7 are Williamsbridge Oval and St. James.
Okay, right. Oh, that sounds good, that you'll be trying something different. Very
Yeah.
good. Good, thank you. Any other questions relating to parks maintenance? All right, we'll move the agenda then. Our recreation centers, I see we have Shirley Jones on from St. James. Shirley, go ahead.
Good evening. How are you, Barbara?
Very good, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, so just a quick update. I had my site visit with the contractors at St. James today. So they have received the order to start work. So there'll be work starting within the next week or two. The project itself is slated to take a year. However, the contractors are very confident that they'd be able to get the work done sooner. So we're just like crossing our fingers. But knowing now that they are going to begin work is a great, it's a really great thing.
And this is your rec center, right, Shirley?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, yes, that's
Yes.
great. Great
Yes,
news.
I know the community, they really want it. I think they have a tracker on me, when I enter St. James Park. So they all have so many questions and they really are ready to return to the location. So I'm excited that we're finally going to get things moving. So that's the update for St. James for today.
Okay, that's great. Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we have Sarah from Williamsbridge Oval Rec Center. Sarah?
No, this is Shigari Alim from Williamsbridge Oval Rec Center.
Oh, okay. Welcome, Shigari. Do you
Thank
have anything you would like to report?
Well, we just wanted to just make you guys aware of the different events that we have coming up and our new programming starting in April. So we have new programming starting in April, and weather depending, we'll be having programming outside, so it would be open to the public. You don't have to be a member, and because our activities are outside, all are welcome. And also, we also have our Easter egg hunt that's coming up on April 8th. We are collaborating with Community Board 7 as well as Senator, pardon me, as well as Senator Rivera on that. So we'll have face painting, arts and crafts, potato sack racing. That's also open to the public, and all are welcome to that as well. Some of the programs that we have is arts and crafts, sports, basketball, baseball, street hockey, and we also have our fitness, which is our circuit training, and also our hip hop dance and salsa on too.
Okay. I have a question for you. You may not be able to answer it, but maybe you can get back to us.
Okay.
I understand that you'll be getting 2 pickleball courts, and some of the people who will be using them wanted to know if the surface of the courts will be the same as the tennis courts that you have at the Oval.
No, from what I've the reports that I've heard, it'll be a different surface.
Okay, right now, the area is blacktop. Am I correct in assuming that?
Currently, yes, it's blacktop.
So they're really not going to do anything with the surface other than maybe paint some lines and put up nets, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, all right, so at least I can answer them. Thank you. Any questions for either Cheryl Lee or Sagari? All right. We'll move then to the Friends groups. We heard from Toby. Elizabeth with Friends of Marshall Parkland, are you still on?
Hi, Barbara. Yes. Hi, everyone. We do have one little bit of information, and that is that the FOMP will be participating in the Jerome Gunhill Bid Earth Day. It is next month. It's a little far from now. It's April 22nd. It'll be held from 12 to 3 p.m. and it's under the 4 train in that little park area. We will be cleaning up, planting some annuals, doing some beautification and organizing activities for the kids of all ages. When the flyer does come up, we will share that with the committee. We are also looking for volunteers to help us on that day to clean up and plant. So contact me on the chat and I'll reach out to you after. And I also did reach out this evening to Carl from Partnerships for Parks to collaborate.
Oh, okay. Now my question is the location, would that be both sides of Jerome?
It'll be on the underneath the 4 train on East Marshall Parkway North. It's the little area. It's the little sitting area where the benches are, where a lot of the old timers and veterans sit.
Okay, so that would be the east side of Jerome Avenue then?
Yeah.
Okay, and the date was?
April 22nd,
22nd,
between 12 and 3 p.m.
12 and 3, and you're looking for volunteers to help out with planting and the cleanup?
And the
whatever.
cleanup, yeah.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, do we have any other friends groups on?
Barbara, you have Fatima from
Oh,
Park.
right, oh gee, sorry, Fatima. Okay, go ahead, Fatima.
Hello, it's okay.
Okay.
My name is Fatima. I am the acting center manager of Poe Park Visitor Center, and we are working on new programming and events as well. I'm just waiting for the approval of our events, and then I'll be able to send those flyers in.
Oh, okay, that would be great because we could distribute them. Well, all right, good. do we have, I see we have Malcolm on from the Jerome Avenue bid.
Hello, do you hear me?
Hi, Malcolm, yes, we can hear you. I hope you'll be working with the Friends of Marshall Parkland for this upcoming event.
Yes, we definitely will be. And I look forward to it as one of my first events as the new neighborhood manager.
Oh, okay, and we wish you the best of luck. Please keep us posted on your activities, and if there's anything we can do to be of assistance, please let us know.
I definitely will, and thank you. And if any of you need anything, you can always reach out to me. I'll put my contact information in the chat. So
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, any other issues that anybody would like to bring up?
Hi, Barbara. I'd love to just give a plug for a couple of Van Cortlandt Park things.
Oh, surely. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Okay. So hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie. I'm the park administrator over at Van Cortlandt Park and also the executive director of Van Cortlandt Park Alliance. Nice to see some familiar faces. Hi, Jerry. So we have a couple things going on. On April 11th, we are doing a little get together over at Rambling House in the evening from 6 to 8 p.m. Come join us for some beers, and you can find out more about Van Cortlandt Park Alliance at our website, and I'll put that in the chat. We also have an Earth Day event over by the stables on April 22nd. And then, of course, the Philharmonic is going to be back on June 13th. Last year, we had over 6,000 people at the event, so I'm hoping that we top that this coming year. And then I'm working with Council Member Dinowitz to do some movies on Indian Field. So there'll be a couple of movies showing on Indian Field in May and June. I'll give you the exact dates so that you can promote that.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other issues that anybody would like to raise before we move on? Our next meeting date is.
Hello.
Wait, go ahead, Geraldine, go ahead.
Oh, you're muted.
There, am I okay now?
You're good now, yes.
Hi, I'm Geraldine McCleve, and I'm from the Woodlawn area. I have won an award for my participation in civic affairs from Andy Cohen, and I also have been named Volunteer of the Year by Van Cortlandt Park. Okay, the reason I'm here is because we have secured $22 million to build a pedestrian bridge over the Deegan, which would, hook up the east and the west sides of Van Cortlandt Park. And, the Parks has now decided, or is trying to decide, that we don't have enough money because of COVID. The money was allocated in 2015. And because of COVID, it hasn't been started. And all this time we've been asking Parks, what is happening? What is happening? What is happening? And they keep saying, we don't know, until there was a Committee 8, CB8 board meeting, committee meeting a few weeks ago, and Parks just suddenly showed up out of the blue and said, oh, by the way, we've decided not to go ahead with the pedestrian bridge, and we're going to reallocate the money to other projects, including maybe an alternative, which from their presentation is truly not possible. So we in Woodlawn are very concerned about it. Taxpayers and also women of Woodlawn are all totally against this reallocation of the monies that were hard won. I mean, we're talking about the Deegan Expressway, which was built 70 years ago. And at that time when it was built, there should have been a few pedestrian bridges put across it so that we could all enjoy the western side of the park with the many facilities that it has. And now, here we are 70 years later, and now when we finally get the money in 2015 to have this big infrastructure project, now Parks doesn't want to go ahead with it because they say we need more money. However, they have not presented why and where more money would go and why we need it. There's been no openness about this at all. It has all been done, from what we can tell, down in Manhattan. It hasn't even been done in the Bronx, because we talked to Mike Ortiz yesterday and he says he's never even seen a budget. Anyway, I'm here because I would like to have your opinion and hopefully your support about this pedestrian bridge, because it would give you in Norwood a lot more space in the park, because the bridge would be built right down at the area at the bottom of the golf course and would go across the Deegan, and then you would be able to walk over to the parade ground. You would be able to go to the pool. You would be able to go to the lake, which you can't do now unless you get in a car.
At this point, I believe we did see this so-called secondary route that they were thinking about other than the bridge.
That's correct.
And now that is off the boards too? That's
No, it is not off the boards, but my husband and I walked it. It's impossible. It's a very, very difficult route. And it also goes across an intersection that we all use to get on and off the Deegan. So it's awfully dangerous for children, for anyone who's not quick physically to even access this area. So.
Okay, what I would like to do is to put this as an agenda item for next month. So we have a little time to
Thank you.
think about it, and also to maybe research it as to what happened to the money that was appropriated and how much more they would need, and whether or not, you know, they reached out to some of our council people also. So I will do that for next month, Geraldine.
I talked to the office of Jeffrey Dinowitz, and Ivan conveyed to me that Mr. Dinowitz is totally against this reallocation of monies. The monies came from a lot of different political groups, including our city councilman, of course, all the way to, at that time, it was Eric Engels. He gave money for it. Hesty gave money for it. We got money from so many places for it. And now, you know, for parks just to say, oh no, we're going to use the money for something else, is just not.
It's not fair. No, I agree with you on that. Okay, so next month it will be an agenda item for us, and I thank you for joining us tonight.
Could I please find out some way to get in touch with you, Barbara? I looked and looked, I wasn't able, an email or something like that.
Okay, I'll put something in the chat before we close out the meeting, okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay, good. All right, next month, as you heard, we will be discussing the proposed connection between the eastern and the western ends of Van Cortlandt Park. I'm not going to say the bridge, because right now there is no bridge, or it's not in the works. We also will be getting a presentation from the Million More Tree group. And also we have a request for a pride flag at the World War I monument on Marshall Parkway. Is there anyone out there who would like to add any other agenda items?
Excuse me, I just want to see if you guys can talk about the flag again. I missed that part.
Excuse me?
Would you mind repeating the part with the flag, please?
Oh, that'll be on our agenda next month. There's been a request for a pride flag to be put up at the World War I monument on Marshall and Marion and Hull Avenues. So that'll be on next month's agenda.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Barbara.
Yes, we have a hand up there. Gwendolyn, go ahead. Gwen, unmute yourself.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that the Bronx Park Speak Up event, as usual, was excellently presented with lots of networking. Thank you.
Okay, yes, I was there. I didn't see you, Gwen, but there were quite a few people. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Okay, and Toby, your hand is up. Do you want to add
Yes,
anything?
I want to say, can we put it on the agenda to send a letter to Parks and Rec to increase the budget for the PEP officers so they don't have to find other opportunities if their salary were increased. You know, Mayor Adams said he was going to increase the park's budget and he never did.
Yes.
And I would just like for us to at least have a conversation about that.
Okay, I will put it on the agenda and maybe we can invite someone from the PEP squad to join
Yes.
us next month. That would be good. Okay, thank you. All right, if there are no more issues to be raised regarding our parks, either this month or next, can I have a motion to close the meeting?
Ruth motions to close the meeting.
Thank you. Do we have a second on that?
Tasha seconds.
Seconded by Gwen.
Okay, Tasha and Gwen, thank you very much and good night. It was an interesting meeting. We had some very good presentations and I thank everybody for coming and I hope you will be back again next month. So hopefully everybody will be on
You're
April
welcome.
12th.